Welcome high-value men. Have you ever felt like the more effort you put into a woman, the less she seems to care? Like no matter how attentive, thoughtful, or available you are, she somehow becomes colder, more distant. It's frustrating. Almost like there's an invisible line you keep crossing without realizing it. And here's the brutal truth: if you're always the one reaching out, always initiating conversations, always being the first to show up, you leave her with no reason to miss you. That ach you feel that emptiness when pulls away. It isn't just rejection, it's the consequence of being too present in her world. You see, women don't miss what they always have. They miss what they can't quite hold, what lingers in their thoughts but stays just out of reach. And if you want her to feel your absence deeply, it's not about disappearing completely, it's about creating the right kind of space, not physical distance but emotional tension. The kind that makes her wonder, where is he? Who is he with? Why isn't he texting me? This isn't manipulation, it's psychology. It's about reversing the role you've been stuck in for too long. In the next few minutes I'll show you how to shift the balance, not by begging for attention but by becoming unforgettable. Through your silence, your presence, and your purpose. Sound fair enough? The first shift you need to make is counterintuitive but powerful. Stop reaching out that constant urge to text her, to check in, to make sure you're still on a radar. It's the very thing killing the mystery. When you're always the one initiating, always available, she never gets the chance to feel your absence, and without absence there's no longing. You have to create space, not out of bitterness or manipulation but to allow desire to breathe. Think of it like a fire. Too much wood too fast and you suffocate the flame, but give it air and it roars. The same is true with attraction. When you pull back just enough, she starts wondering where you went, what you're doing, and more importantly, who you're doing it with. I remember one client who texted his girl every morning, and every night she started replying less, became distant, so he stopped. 3 days of silence later she texted, "Hey, is everything okay?" That's not just concern, that's curiosity, that's fear of loss starting to whisper in her ear. And here's what's wild: psychologists have found that rejection activates the same brain regions as addiction, meaning when you stop giving her what she's used to, her brain starts craving it. Craving you, so don't be afraid to be quiet for a while. Let her imagination do the chasing, because in silence you become louder in her mind than any words ever could. And when she starts missing you, do you know where she'll go first? Not to her phone to call you, but straight to your social media, because in today's world, if it's not posted, it might as well not exist. That's how people check your pulse without having to talk to you quietly, silently, from a distance. So here's what you do: show her without saying a word that your life is vibrant, full, moving, and meaningful. This doesn't mean posting a yacht or a Rolex or some fake highlight reel that reeks of insecurity. What works better? A picture of you hiking, a clip of you laughing with friends, a post about something you're building, learning, or loving. I knew a guy who broke up with his girlfriend but didn't say a word online. A month later she sent him a message: "I see you've been out a lot lately." That wasn't judgment, that was a subtle signal. She had been watching, she had noticed. And yes, she had missed him. You're not doing this to brag, you're doing this to remind her subtly, powerfully, that life moves on and she's not a part of it right now. That's how you trigger the fear of missing out, and nothing makes a woman reach out faster than the feeling she's being left behind. Once she notices your absence and starts checking in on your life, something fascinating happens. She tries to get your attention without actually reaching out. It's subtle. Maybe she posts a new selfie, maybe she shares a quote that strange aligns with something only you would understand. Maybe she tags herself at places you used to go together. These aren't coincidences, these are silent signals. But here's the key: don't take the bait. Most men see these posts and immediately Rush in liking the photo, replying with a fire emoji, dropping a comment just to be noticed. Don't the moment you react, you give her what she wants, reassurance that you're still watching, still hooked, still predictable. And once she knows that, the power shifts back to her. I remember this guy Mark who noticed his ex suddenly posting thirst traps 2 weeks after their breakup. Everyone was liking and commenting except him. He stayed silent. 3 days later she messaged him, "So you're just ignoring me now?" That message didn't come from confidence, it came from curiosity turned into anxiety. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. When the thing you want doesn't always respond, it becomes more addictive. Your silence becomes a vacuum, and the longer you withhold attention, the more she fills that space with thoughts of you, not because you chased her but because she couldn't stop wondering why you didn't. Eventually she will reach out, whether it's a casual "Hey, how have you been?" or something more direct. It's coming, and when it does, this is where most men fail. They get too excited, too eager. They blow the entire setup by acting like they've been waiting all along, and just like that the mystery disappears. Women are deeply intuitive. When you respond with too much enthusiasm, too many words, too many emojis, too much energy, they don't see warmth, they see weakness. It tells her that her message is the highlight of your week, that you've been sitting there hoping, checking your phone, waiting for that ping. But what if you didn't react that way? What if instead you answered with a calm, neutral tone, a simple "Hey, I'm doing well, hope you are too." Nothing cold, nothing rude, just grounded, unmoved. That alone creates tension, because now she's wondering, why is he so composed? Why isn't he chasing me like before? I once coached a man who mastered this. When his ex reached out, he replied like he was talking to an old colleague, not a lost love. She messaged him 3 times in one night, not because he begged for it, but because he became a puzzle she suddenly needed to solve. Mystery isn't silence, it's restraint, and the man who controls his emotions always controls the outcome. Now that the silence has done its work, and she's reaching out again, there's one more layer that will push her emotions further. Jealousy, not the loud, dramatic kind, but a subtle, elegant kind of jealousy, the type that whispers, not screams. You don't need to post pictures kissing someone else or playing games. That's immature and transparent. What works better is ambiguity. A photo of you at dinner with friends, one of whom just happens to be a woman. A group photo with someone tagged whose profile is private. A story where there's a hint of someone else's presence but no explanation. I remember a client who posted a photo from a weekend trip, sunset, wine, 2 glasses, no faces, no tags. Within hours, his ex watched the story 3 times. Then she messaged, "That looks cozy, who are you with?" She wasn't angry, she was curious, and behind that curiosity was fear that you've moved on, that someone else is experiencing what she once had, that she's been replaced, and that possibility is powerful. The goal isn't to hurt her, it's to remind her that you have options, that your world doesn't revolve around her. And once a woman realizes she's no longer the center of your universe, she'll fight to earn that place back. There's another layer to being unforgettable, and it's much more subtle than a text or a photo. It's about creating emotional anchors in her mind. One of the simplest and most powerful ways to do that: give her a nickname, not just any nickname, but one that connects her to something familiar in her daily life. Let's say she loves coffee, you call her mocha, or maybe she's obsessed with sunsets, you nickname her golden hour. It's personal, playful, and most importantly repeatable, because every time she hears that word in real life, you pop into her head. That's not coincidence, that's associative memory. I had a client who used to call his girlfriend Sunday because that's when they always had their best dates. Months after they stopped seeing each other, she messaged him out of nowhere on a Sunday. Just one word: miss you. The power of a Well-placed memory is that it stays long. After you've gone, when you tie yourself to something she sees, hears or feels. Often you don't have to remind her you exist, the world will do it for you. While nicknames tap into her memories, teaching her something new taps into her admiration. See, women aren't just attracted to looks or charm, they're deeply drawn to a man who can lead, a man who expands her world, not limits it. If you've ever introduced her to a new book, a new perspective, or even a small life hack she now uses daily, you've created a permanent emotional imprint. Why? Because people don't forget the ones who help them grow. I worked with a guy who once helped his girlfriend set up her online business. Months after they broke up, she still used the same tools he showed her. She once admitted, "Every time I log in, I think of you." That's not nostalgia, that's respect. It means you weren't just a chapter in her story, you were a turning point. When you teach a woman something valuable, you step into the role of a quiet leader, and women don't just miss leaders, they trust them, admire them, and if given the chance, they return to them. And finally, give her space, real space. Not just physical distance, but emotional freedom, the kind that lets her breathe, live and feel who she is outside of you. Most men think that staying close equals staying connected, but true connection isn't built on constant presence, it's built on mutual respect for individuality. When you support her growth, when you encourage her to chase her passions, and when you let her have her own life, you show strength, not weakness. I knew a man who used to call his girlfriend every night when he stopped, not out of spite but out of maturity. Something shifted. She began calling him not because he pulled away, but because he gave her room to miss him. The Stoics believe that love should never be based on possession but on appreciation, and when you give someone the space to choose you freely, their return carries more weight than any demand ever could. She won't miss you because you chased her, she'll miss you because in a world full of noise you were the one man who respected her silence and still stood out.